Stuart Beach in Stuart, Florida with Shirley, and Diana. And we just got through with a very successful event at the Unitarian Church in Stuart. Do you guys want to say a little bit about how it went today?
I'd like to start.
Okay.
It was fabulous. We actually had to turn away people because there weren't enough seats in the hall. And it was an incredible gathering of people from distances, north and south. And I think what to me was so powerful about it was that people from different interests were there. You know, people who were concerned about their health, people who have one kind of politics, people who had another kind of politics. It didn't matter because people were coming together to take back their power. And I think the information and the information that was shared and the relationships that were built because of the event, you know, were just extraordinary. From a personal perspective, I'm electromagnetically sensitive myself, and the first time I went over, I own a 4-unit apartment building. The first time I went over there and felt something when I got out of the car, and then realized what had happened, what had slipped by me. You can't imagine how alone, you know, you feel when you get on the telephone to the utility and you're making your way through things. Well, today was the exact opposite of that. You know, I did not feel alone. I felt the community of people who were concerned about what was happening and what their rights are and what's important for people. So even though it is difficult for me to go to my own apartment building, I've taken the smart meters off, but there's 35 feet away, there's 12 of them facing my building. You know, even though I face those challenges and there's more and more to come in the road to taking back my power, today in the gathering, that sense of not being in it alone was just perfect.
Well, kudos to you guys and to Stephanie Austin, who isn't on the beach with us today, but played a really powerful leadership role in bringing this together, and everyone who made it happen. It was incredible, just grassroots. There was really very little formal promotion. Most of it was through word of mouth and through email. Maybe one of you could talk about the political situation in Florida and where the smart meter situation is. I understand that there's just been an opt-out, quote-unquote, put into place.
Yes, and Sherry and I are both petitioners with one group of people that did a protest petition. The Public Service Commission has told us that they are not going to listen to anything except cost. It doesn't. All of the other issues that we brought forward.
So they haven't said that there's no health problems, there's no privacy problems, there's no fire problems. They just said they don't want to listen to it.
They don't want to listen.
I don't blame them.
Right.
And they haven't identified who or what agency would be responsible for taking those issues. They say this would go someplace else, but they haven't told us, if I'm correct, where
into the dumpster in the back of their building.
Yes.
But Sherry's been involved for a long time, both at a grassroots level and, again, what happened today, just that constant communication with other people in the community to make it happen.
Diana, you've been involved on a personal level with this issue, and also you're a biobiologist.
Right.
So you've gone around helping people make their living environments healthier. Do you see a rising awareness in Florida about these issues, particularly wireless health issues?
Yes, I do, Josh. I go into people's homes weekly and measure and characterize their spaces, measure the smart meters, help them figure out what their choices are based on that information. And more people I'm finding throughout the state of Florida and my travels around the country, there seem to be more people that are aware. They have a certain level of understanding already. They've heard about these issues and they want clarification. They want to know what they can do about it. How dangerous is it real? And so part of my role is as an educator to inform them and give them the science and the physics behind what's going on. So as a building biologist, or baubiologist is a German translation, I'm able to, through my training and experience in doing this, really help a lot of people. And so I've been supportive, I'm so appreciative of Sherry and Stephanie for the work they've done in getting the people to come today particularly. And I think today was a landmark meeting because there have been gatherings around the state, and I do presentations and talk about smart meters everywhere I go, particularly on this one issue on smart meters as part of the larger, building biology view of healthy buildings. But things are happening, things are changing, and I'm just getting calls from all over the country now, and it's very encouraging.
Yeah, this thing seems to, just in the last couple months, it just feels like it's come to a new level. That's just, to me, dealing with it. I mean, my email inbox is getting, I go to bed at night, I wake up in the morning, there's like 100 new emails, and it's like, there's always been a lot of interest, but it seems like we've really, it's been bumped up, and it's just kind of hitting this critical mass right now.
And I know that this is also happening with other building biologists around the country because I'm in communication with them, and I'm an instructor as well, teaching these EMR techniques and issues. So we're all hearing this.
Sadly, it's a growth industry because of the toxins that the telecom industry and the utilities are forcing on us. Sherry, I wanted to ask you about, you were just telling us about this fantastic book that you were working on in a project involving a cartoon about life on the planet.
I had published the book in 2008, and my lifelong dream has been to make cartoon documentary out of this book and the following two, which would be in a series of sustainability. On January 1st, 2012, I had said, okay, this is my plan. I wrote up a proposal. I've got a 5-page proposal. Within 2 weeks, the smart meters were installed in my neighborhood. And that has effectively, I've hardly looked at that proposal since January 2012.
Because you've been busy fighting them, or because they've affected you
Well, first of
personally?
all, it affected me. I didn't know anything. And I was tipped off by a friend of mine who has a similar diagnosis. So I insisted that FP&L not put a meter on my house, but it was my neighbor's meter that caused a sudden decline in my health, which had already been bad. But I had done a lot of work. I was doing a lot better. So within a short period of time, my existing symptoms I used to have years ago came back, and additional neurological symptoms, very scary neurological symptoms, including severe short-term memory loss, cognitive disorientation. In other words, it was very hard for me to put two sentences together, and I'm used to having a brain that works, and that was very scary. So all of that had to be dropped, and then it was this slow discovery period of what do you do, and how do you combat this, feeling very alone. So I reached out, I think I looked online and reached out to Debbie Rubin and Stephanie Austin of Florida's Microwave Chasm, and I felt so relieved. Here for you, there's other people like you, we're trying to take action, so that was good. But I had several months where I was feeling very poorly until my neighbors agreed, for me, as a personal favor, not because they believe or think that there's any problem with smart meters, but because I begged them. So they changed the meter out to a but it was never as good as it was before the smart meters came into my neighborhood. And then my city decided to put in the radio read water meters. And again, I had different symptoms, somewhat different, including tremors. So I now have tremors when I'm exposed to prolonged radio frequency radiation. And I have to sleep.
Only takes me a couple minutes.
Yes. And I now have to sleep behind an aluminum storm shutter because it was coming into my bedroom and I could not sleep for 3 weeks. I am working with the city on trying to get that resolved, or I'm, I don't know if it's working, confronting.
They're not. You're working with them, but they're not working with you.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Speaking to an attorney.
Uh-huh.
HUD has been called in, not through me, but through another woman, trying to get, that was the other thing I did want to put on, which is that there are a number of us that require a zone of safety. Because it's not just for those of us that have this sensitivity, that we don't have the meters on our house. It's the meters that are very close to us that are then transmitting into our homes, and we're impacted by that. So that leaves us in a very vulnerable position, and my dream is that under the ADA, that people who have been declared disabled and newly disabled, because they now are sensitive, should be guaranteed the right to live at home without having these radio frequency radiation come into the house.
But we can't grant people their ADA rights, because if we did, there's so many electrosensitive people, and they all would need a zone of safety around their house, that the whole system would collapse.
Oh my God.
We can't have that, because the machine is more important. The smart grid is more important than human health.
Absolutely.
So the utilities would say. I'm personifying FP&L here.
Yes, but I think
Maybe some safe community.
I think that we're trying to, as we're really forging this path, say what tools are at our disposal to fight back.
And today's meeting was a wonderful place to come together, both with the knowledge and experience that you bring forth, and also what Josh Del Sol has done with the movie. It was just phenomenal.
Well, I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed meeting you all. I'm enjoying being here on the beach with you. And we just got through some falafels and Middle Eastern food, and it's fantastic. So this is a great finale to my Whistlestop Smart Meters tour. Thank you for making it great, Florida. And
so glad you came.
Yes.
well, I hope to come back soon. And we're all connected across the country. Everyone who's fighting this is connected, and we got to remember that we're not alone.
That's right. We are not alone.
We're not alone. Thank you.
Thank you.